Okay, so I wanted to show my version of Twisted Root, which is a yoga pose, but actually I intuitively created this on my own before I started doing yoga years ago. So the idea is to work crossbody lines, like from opposite hip to shoulder, and to work these long fascial lines. It's more effective to work it that way than, say, like with a foam roller. You can work target spots like your IT band or other areas, but then you're just treating the symptoms. So you might have some tension in your shoulder, neck, or something like that, or hip that might be going down into your calf or a completely far away, distant part of your body. So to begin this one here, it'll be a little bit different. You have to pay attention to some of the cues that I'm giving, and maybe able to use some props like blocks or cushions or something like that, whatever you have available. I got my stuff set aside here now. So you start out first with this laying on your, say if you lay on your right side and have that bottom knee bent and start out with the straight arm. You see all that? So here, this is the first position. If your neck or shoulder is giving you some trouble here, or you're feeling that, then just stay there as long as need be. What comes into play and it starts adding in getting the crossbody and also working the ribs is to start to kick this left leg back. So you bring that back. You can have, if you have the knee lifted, you can put a little weight in the foot and push down into the ground a little bit. Maybe you find something on the whole inside of your leg. You can bring the knee down and you can kick it back further. Depends on your flexibility. So what I'll work on here is in this position and also in the other position, which we'll change to after the shoulders loosened up, is pushing down into the ground a little bit. So I can push this grounded hip and knee down into the ground. I can push this foot down into the ground a little bit. I can draw those feet together as if I'm drawing them together without moving my feet. I can also push this right shoulder down into the ground, and as if I am doing a side bend on the ground. So if this floor wasn't in the way, I would be doing a side bend. So I'm pushing my shoulder and my hip down into the ground, and it's as if the side starts to lift a little bit. That's one activation I can do. So we're active in this, not just hanging out in the stretch. And you just do that for a couple seconds and then release it. And then I can do as if I'm doing a forward fold on this right shoulder towards this right hip, kind of like this, like a little bit of a crunch. I can keep this arm, back here if I want to open up the shoulder more. I can also do like I'm doing a back bend. So imagining my right shoulder kind of going back, and I'm moving it back, even just moving a little bit. So as I'm working here, I can start to kick that foot back even more, which is going to pull across the ribs and the shoulder. I can bring this hand back. I could use that yoga block here to open up. So that's the first part. If the shoulder is not bothering you, then move. You can quickly move into the other position, or you can stay there for a couple minutes. Put a towel or something underneath here as needed if you're feeling a lot in that shoulder. So the next part I'm going to twist so you can see what I'm doing. Is I'm still in that same position with my legs, but I'm bringing my arm back around my back. So now we're like this. And then this hand I can use as a pillow for my head. So my hand and my arm, I can change the position of my wrist, whether I want it the pinky side, palm down, thumb side, back of my hand, depending on your flexibility, what feels good for you. But the main thing is with this type of stretching, because it's a lot longer held, is you want to just work where it still feels a little bit comfortable, just a little bit of stress. If you do it on several different occasions, your body will start to let go and know that it can let go because you didn't get hurt the last time you did it. So then I can start to kick back even further. I can move my arm up a little higher as needed, but don't rush it. If you feel something, the point of it is not to go to your full range of motion. It's to find those areas where you feel a kink. So I can bring this foot back a little bit further. I can start to push it in the ground. I can put my head down, bring this hand behind. This all depends on your flexibility. I can pull my knee down, but in this case, my left knee, I'm trying to push this left foot into the ground and my right hip. When I press my right hip into the ground and then press this arm and hand a little bit into the ground, I can feel a little bit more in the ribs and the side body activation. I can pin this hand and my foot, my left foot that's on the ground, and as if I'm back bending, or I can do it like forward folding, lifting away, and so on. So that's the basics of the pose. If this leg on the back side gets to be a little too much, you can take something like a couch cushion and you can have in this position here, so you're not overdoing it. And then you also have the option of the yoga block. So it just all depends on the mobility of your shoulder. Don't force it, but you could do something like this as well. So hopefully that helps us. My favorite stretch to get some imbalances in the body to balance out with little activation, even in the neck and shoulders, ribs, hips, down the legs as well.